character video was adorable, by the way.
God. It was too long. It was too long.
It was so cool.
Too long.
I mean, I get
the
how much
montage.
work that was.
Montage. I'm like, what?
Like, oh my gosh, I think I'm gonna have a seizure.
Girl, I'm soaking that out.
So a while back, the Joyful Miles podcast did.
Have you ever?
I have, yeah. And I was listening to this podcast, and it was hilarious because I'm just so surprised that, like, oh wait, you've never done that? Oh wait, you've never done that?
Sent me a text like right afterwards. You're like, oh my gosh, I have done all of this.
I've done all of it. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, so Shaylee, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. You have asked us this question. You asked us this question on the Joyful Miles Running Club, and like all of the embarrassing stories. So we thought we would just revisit this podcast topic. So the first one is, have you ever fallen or tripped during a race? And I have to be honest, I don't know that I've ever fallen or tripped. Yes, I have. Again, it was an Ironman, or not an Ironman. It was an Olympic distance triathlon. I had just gotten clip-in pedals and I wasn't used to them.
Oh my God.
Dismount line, I thought it was like 6 feet ahead of where it actually was. So it kind of came up on me. And I slammed on the brakes right at the dismount line and I couldn't unclip. So I fell. And I almost didn't finish the race because I was so shook up by it.
I have not fallen, but knock on wood, but I almost caused someone else to fall. We were at the Tower of Terror and I saw Lotso on the left and I just got this very, very unrealistic, just horrible, crazy moment. And I darted over and I almost knocked this guy over. I still feel bad. I know etiquette. I know better, but it was Lotso. I got excited. My apologies. I apologized 1,000 times.
Okay, next question. Have you ever forgotten to clip your toenails before a race? Have you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. For the last, the one Princess where my husband went this, I think 2015, I totally forgot to clip them and I was in such misery. He actually had to go to the gift store to get me a pair so I could clip them. And total duh moment.
I think I've forgotten to do it and it only resulted in blisters later. Like what did I do there? Oh, well, I forgot to clip my toenails. Normally I'm good about it, but yeah, I have definitely forgotten to do that and I would get blisters after the fact.
I get this one sharp edge that digs in and it'll bleed. Oh yeah.
Those aren't fun. Those I usually get them on training runs, which reminds me to do it before I go out for a race. So have you ever gotten dirty clothes out of a hamper?
Only every other day.
I know, right? It's like, if you are a runner, you know how much laundry you have. And it's like, you cannot keep up. So yes, nope. I've gotten dirty clothes out of a hamper. Take a sniff,
pick the worst, the least offensive sports bra and you put that one on.
Usually the one on top, because if they sit down underneath it, they kind of, yeah. So, yeah. Okay. Next question, because we're going quick. Have you ever peed in a cornfield?
Only every other. Yes. Yes. Of course. Of course. We have one very runner friendly cornfield, and then we have another that's not runner friendly. It has like all the weeds on the outside. So absolutely. I was so shocked when we did this podcast because neither Rob nor Jackie ever peed while on a training run. And I'm like, what?
Right. And to be clear here, yes, I have, but it's like in a ditch along the side of the road behind a bush. Okay. This isn't like the Colorado Springs, mad pooper thing. That's somebody else. And no, that's not okay. It's, if you're out, for me, it was out on a bike ride and it was repeatedly out on a bike ride. It's like you start to ride along and you're so well hydrated that you're okay. Then you start to look for places that you can kind of pull over and yeah, it needs to happen. Have you ever cried at the finish line?
Only every other time. I have cried at the finish lines, and I think my worst one was during the 2015 and I was on the Goofy Challenge, and I did not get any sleep the night before the half marathon. I was very emotional. It was my toughest race ever, and I cried like a baby. We're talking like the ugly cry, like not the little dainty wipe away your little tear. It was ugly cry time,
like the hyperventilating. Really, hyperventilating cries. Yeah. I have more like a couple of times. And I think when I have, it's been a particularly bad race or something didn't go the way I wanted. The last time was actually a prairie dog, and that was in September. It was such a bad race. I wasn't prepared for what that race was bringing to me. And I had my heart set on a PR and it didn't happen. And I was so frustrated that I was a mess. Like I doubled over and I was sobbing at the end of the race. So that was the kind of thing. It's like when I set myself up to not have a victory, and in that case I did. I didn't have another goal to go for. The only thing I had in my mind was a PR. And what happens when you don't get that? It's like, oh, well, then the whole race is a failure. That's not true, but that's how you feel when you cross the finish line. So that's the kind of thing. So I digress. So what happens? Have you ever thrown up after a race?
My first 5K, when I discovered that I should not eat a banana right after a race. Total bent over, chunking in a trash can. There's probably pictures of me somewhere online. Wasn't pretty.
Nice. I actually have not. I have come close. We're
going to work on that goal, aren't we?
Is that a runner rite of passage? I mean,
I don't think so, because Snot rocketing is, and we're going to get to that later. So let's just leave it at that and just let that one go. You don't have to.
Okay, good. Have you ever gotten lost during a training run or a race?
Oh my gosh. Yes, I have gotten so lost. I did a training run at a park. My husband was in the parking lot with me, like reading, drinking coffee, and it was in the woods. And I got so hideously lost that I had to call him. And I'm like, I don't know where I am. I have no idea. So he's on the phone with me. And of course, there are axe murderers behind every single tree. So I'm freaking out. And then finally I saw this one road, and Bob's like, oh my gosh, that's like 3 miles away. So he's hauling butt to come get me. And when I saw him, I totally cried.
You lost it.
I'm a baby. So yeah, there you go. I have not gone back to that trail, by the way.
I've gotten lost on bike rides. And this comes back into, I had an 80-mile bike ride, and I had it all mapped out. And I think I had taken a wrong turn, or I turned too late or something, but I ended up so far north. And this comes into the next question. Have you ever had to make the call of shame? What is the call of shame? That means, okay, I'm lost. I don't know where I am. Come get me, please. Have you ever had to make the call of shame?
Yes, I did. I went out on a hot day. I went out too late. I didn't have enough hydration on me. I was in a pickle. I called my kids, said, come get me.
Yep.
No shame in taking care of yourself, people.
Nope, not at all. That same 80-mile ride. So luckily, my brother was living in Boulder at the time, and not far from where I park the car to start my long rides. Well, I was so far north, and I literally did not know where I was. I was on this random road, and I'm looking where there's no cell service, and I'm looking on my phone, and I'm trying to tell him where I am. Like, I literally have no idea where I am. So he finally comes out and he gets me, and I was probably another 15 miles from the car. So, all right. So do you have a race day superstition?
No, I won't allow myself to, because I have some OCD and anxiety issues. The only thing that I used to be really bad about tying my shoelaces, and I made myself stop. Although sometimes you need to have some way to relieve some of the jitters. Yeah. But what I do is I used to get really upset if I had a scratch on my metal, and it would really detract me because of my issues. And now I have this thing where I have to take the first metal that's offered to me. I have to take that first metal. It doesn't matter if there's a scratch, doesn't matter anything. That is my metal. I have to take that one. And I tell you what, it has helped with my OCD.
Oh, bet.
A lot.
Yeah, I don't think I do. But just, generally good practices. But, I always make sure that I don't use anything new on race day, but, just generally good practice for runners. So that's about it. Yeah, moving on. Boring. So have you ever had to wave? So sometimes there will be signs. Smile if what are they on runners for running?
Wave if you peed a little.
Wave if you peed a little. And for triathletes, it's smile if you peed in your wetsuit. And I mean, that right there is like everybody is smiling by the time they're running by that. So I will say, yes, I have had to wave. I've had to smile.
Ew.
Yes.
Lucky me.
Have you ever snot rocketed? This is my favorite one.
No, I refuse. I'm sorry. I refuse. I will use my sleeve. I will use the bottom of my shirt. I tuck tissues in every single cranny I can find. I can't. Sorry.
I think it's a beautiful thing. I think the snot rocket is an art form, and I practice it about this time for about 3 or 4 weeks, this time every year. And it really is, it's a beautiful thing. And I have stood in awe of people who can just the perfect snot rocket. I mean, it's a sight to behold. So, yep.
I can't.
Yeah.
I will try just for you, Heather.
Will you?
I will.
I want to be there.
I will not film it. Don't worry.
I do. Like, I mean, like, especially since I've had a cold, and that's the hard part. Like, what do you do when you've got a cold and you're already congested, and it's worse to, sniffle all the way through a run. If you can get rid of that stuff, that it's just, I think it's an art form. Have you ever had a runner meltdown?
Who you talking to?
Well, I'm trying to figure out what the difference is between a runner meltdown and just a meltdown. I mean,
yeah, I had the worst meltdown was the 2015 Wind Down Half Marathon that I talked about earlier, where I did not have any sleep the night before.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing the Goofy Challenge, which meant a full the next day. Jackie, poor Jackie, God help her. I barely even knew her, and she woke up to me bawling my eyes out.
Oh my gosh.
And God bless her. All she did was like calmly roll over and relay the story about how Jeff Galloway talked about not getting any sleep the night before a race, and he ran his best race. And she knows how to deal with me and my anxiety quite well. So we get along so great. But so yeah, I was like at the mile 3 mark, and everything was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
My pace was wrong. I was too cold. My clothing was wrong. Everything about that race was wrong. And I could not make it right, no matter how hard I tried. And, my husband, we paid a lot for this race, and here I am, and I'm ruining it by being wrong. And so, yeah, I had a little bit of a meltdown, and I never listened to music during Run Disney races ever. I've done 38 races. I listened to music twice. And this was the one time I put my headphones on. I cranked Sing by My Chemical Romance as loud as I could go. And I ran as fast and as hard, which you should not do for a Goofy.
No.
But I did. I had to blow off that anxiety. And for like the next 2 miles, I just booked.
Well, I'm trying to think. I've had meltdowns, not during a race. The worst one was last year because I was training by heart rate, and training by heart rate is super hard. You have to run keeping your heart rate under 140 beats per minute. I couldn't do it. I literally I was walking more than I was running, and I'm so used to running. I'm so used to being faster than that and more competitive than that. And it was a completely new way of running for me. And after about 6 weeks of seeing no improvement, got to a point where my watch went off saying, "You are outside of your zone." I had a water bottle in my hand, and I threw it at the fence. It broke it. I sat down. Luckily it's like 4:00 in the morning. I sat down next to the side of the street, and I bawled. And I was so mad, and I was so frustrated with how that training plan was going. It just wasn't working for me. And this was for Dopey last year. And I felt like I was so far into the training plan, I didn't know how to fix it.
Right.
And so I literally, I almost quit it all that day. Those are the challenges that put the really good stuff in perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So
and you have to adjust. You have to adjust when something is not working.
Yeah.
You have to take a step back and adjust rather than fight your way through and only, frustrate yourself even more to the point where you might quit or get injured or, you have to adjust.
It's how you care.
Yeah.
And I think that's important too. So moving on, lightening it up a little bit. Have you ever lost a toenail?
No.
I have.
Nope.
Again, right of passage. I was so impressed. But yeah, I lost a toenail. I was so excited about it. Isn't that weird?
My goodness, girl.
There are some weird things that I've been excited.
What is it that you don't do? You're beast.
Well, Again, losing a toenail is a rite of passage. That's how you figured out you've done something wrong. That's how I figured out how to tie my shoes right. Have you ever run an hour or more on the treadmill?
Yes, absolutely did. I did 20 miles on the treadmill.
Good night.
And could be one of the reasons why my foot got injured because, yeah, my doctor has said no more treadmill for me unless it's an emergency, like it's icy or something out there. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
sure.
don't mind. I'm one of those sickos. I love the treadmill. I had movies on. My husband went and got me Redbox movies, so I was perfectly happy. I was fine. I had the bathroom nearby. I have to have a meal by
It's all right
the
there.
mark, so I got to have my sandwich. I was totally happy.
I have run an hour. I have run 2 hours on the treadmill. I think that's as far as I've gone. Honestly, it took a lot to get me on the treadmill for 2 hours. Like I was outside, I was running, and then I was in a complete downpour. And so I ran back to the house and I did the rest of it on the treadmill. No, I don't like to. I will. I don't like to. Okay. Have you ever suffered from chafing?
Yes. Actually, I never had to worry about any type of body glide or anything like that until I ran the 2015 full marathon, and I had no body glide on whatsoever, and I shaped in between my boobs where my sports bra was so bad. Oh my gosh, I still have a little bit of a scar.
Oh,
It was Jackie and I's first real adventure together, and I call it Jackie Star, which is really weird. But yeah, there you go.
how to tell when you're really close. You name your scars after each other.
Yes, you do.
That's
Yes.
adorable. Yes, I have. And it was awful because it was so hot that day. And there were residents in Coeur d'Alene that had their sprinklers out, and they were hosing you down because it was so dang hot. So you're soaked to the bone, which it feels really, really good. But I'm
Right.
wearing tri shorts. So I'm wearing, tight running shorts. And I didn't realize this at the time. We'll just say the bike seat area was chafing so badly. When I took my shorts off, when I got back to the hotel that night, I hit the roof, and I didn't have Neosporin. So my wonderful now husband went to go get me Neosporin. I was in tears. Like I didn't want to wear pants for like a week. So have you ever run past home to get to a certain distance?
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
Every
And if it
dang
says I have to
time.
run 10 miles, it has to be exactly 10 miles. So I will do whatever. I'll circle my driveway if I have to.
I do that. It's like I will run past the house just to the end of the block because I'm that close. I'm like 200ths of a mile, but I will run past my house.
Yep.
Go 2 doors down and then turn around. Yeah, I do that. Okay. Have you ever had runner's tan lines?
Well, I try not to. As much as possible. I wear a lot of long sleeves too, a ton of sunblock. So no, not deliberately.
And I get, again, I get the stupid biker tan lines because, you're out cycling for hours at a time. You get it right there on your shorts, and they're not at the same level because one short leg is coming up a little bit higher than the other. So they're like uneven, and it's dumb. It's so dumb. So yeah, so I get cyclist tan lines more than anything. Have you ever taken a runner selfie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I'll take like 20 because I look pretty ratchet at home. Like at Disneyland at Disney races, I can pull off, because I do wear makeup at home. It's like, So you have to get the right angle and,
You got to go from up high. Yeah.
Exactly. So you don't have the whole chin.
The perfect runner selfie. Yeah.
The tricks we do.
Exactly. So yes, I have too. So that is it. That is all of our never have I ever. So yeah, I scored pretty high on that, I think. So anyway.
I scored G for gross.
G for gross. I think I scored D for disgusting.